There were three of us that were asked to judge this, and as you will see, it was too hard. It was too hard to judge. We wanted everybody up on the stage. So the format, and this Joan Davidson, where's Joan? Stand up, Joan. So this is our young leader that actually organised this, so she deserves some credit. Come up here. So Joan came up with these questions, and you can.
Oh, you want me to introduce the questions?
Yes, you'll give them the questions.
Oh, okay. Oh well, I didn't really come up with them. We've got a committee, and unfortunately, I'm the only one here. So between us, we came up with 3 questions. Those were the 3 questions we posed. So how that went is we had 3 gorgeous guest speakers. Kelvin was number 1, so they were keynote speeches. Kelvin introduced the first one, so they spoke around the topics themselves and then concluded with the questions. What have we got? Second one, I don't think Dane's here at the moment, so Dane Hart is EWB, so Engineers Without Borders. He posed the second question, and the wonderful Troy Brockbank posed the third question. And then we went to the audience, which was these awesome people down here, and they essentially answered the questions. And and the result is what you're about to see. So they had, we've only got 5 of the 6 groups here. So that's what's happening. We've got, okay, another thing to explain. When everyone came into the room, yeah, did you know you were first? Everyone had a name, a region out of a hat, and that's how we split everyone up. So these guys were Hawke's Bay.
Hi everyone. So our question that we were answering was, going forward, what is the one thing that the water industry can't forget? And we made this very pretty poster that we're very proud of to try and demonstrate what our ideal was. The main thing that we can't forget is people. Fundamentally, the services that we provide and every person here works on services the community. And without adequate water, wastewater and stormwater treatment, those communities really suffer. So everything that we need to be doing ties back to the communities that we serve. To be able to do this effectively, we need diversity in our industry that reflects the communities that we are actually serving, so that we're getting that sort of viewpoint in it. In particular, we also need to build on the experience that we also have. We have a lot of really experienced people within the industry, and that information needs to be shared, particularly to young people like us that would love to hear it. Fundamentally, the thing that ties us all together is collaboration. Collaboration within our industry to build that diversity and to share that experience and to come up with the best solutions, and then collaboration with the communities that we're serving to make sure that what we're giving them is exactly what they want. And then we have a rope analogy.
The idea is that when it's by itself, a single rope is only. You have to pose, team. A single rope by itself, single person, not sharing that load is not as strong, it's quite weak. In comparison to if they work together and bind together and work together, they can support all of our communities and our industry, and we're better off for it. That is our analogy.
Everyone had a piece of rope. You just want to hold them all up so everyone can see. There's a bit of everyone had to include the rope in their response. So, sorry about that, guys. You did a great job without any introduction of the rope concept. The next group is Auckland.
So we had the second question about leadership. How do young professionals lead within our roles day to day? So we had 3 main concepts: vision, initiative, and relationships. You want to go with that?
Okay, so we thought one of the first things that you can do as a young professional is figure out what your vision is. What do you actually want to do? Where are you seeing things going? And in the industry and just with yourself. So then that once you've formed that vision, it's then possible to do little things day to day to actually work towards that. And it's also something you can share with other people to see what you have in common with your vision and that sort of thing. So you can get some teamwork around that as well.
Just want to add on to Jess's comments that yes, definitely vision is the first step towards leadership. However, your vision is just an idea until you take initiatives. So be brave to take an initiative, challenge the status quo with new ideas, broader strategy and technology. On the other side, always take initiatives to always improve your knowledge and knowledge with experience that this industry has to offer.
And while you have a goal and you take initiative, there's no point in having that without talking to others about it. So it goes back to relationships. You need to talk to others, and that's most effective when you know who they are, you get to know them, and you know their values. So if you want to be effective in bringing your goal, then you want to know what those people value so that you can more effectively bring across whatever you're leading in, whatever sector you're in. That's our...
So I just got the memo. You guys have to speak into the microphone. Next up, we got Waikato.
Okay, so we dealt with question number 3, and our talked about how every one of us has a water story of how we relate to water, but the question asked, what is water's water story, and what does water hope for its future?
Kia ora, everyone. So we use this analogy of a rope to kind of represent, at the start, a bit of the whakapapa of water, so maybe going back into the past of how water has obviously been around for a fair while and has travelled many journeys and interacted with many different lands and people and even at a chemical level, all different kind of processes. So we've kind of used this not to represent all the little water cycle aspects of that water and also the community aspects of where that water's come from. So we started by using this rope analogy to look at that aspect.
So we've come to a conclusion that what happens to our water now affects the future of our water and of our people. So by straining the water, it leads to the contamination of our land, our people, and life itself.
So our hopes for the future for our water story is that we keep the cycle going and we make sure that we maintain and do what we need to do as a people and as a community to make sure that we still have usable drinking water and sewage water, and we can maintain our stormwater as well. So that is our hope and for our future. But there is also the other possible reality where we don't look after that and it can be destroyed. So going back to the beginning of our day one here, there's a saying, and taki te wai, ka tiaki te whenua, ka tiaki te tangata. If you look after the water, you will look after the land. And in looking after the water and land, you will look after the people. So therefore, we will all survive. But as a reality of that, if we don't, just like how the cycle began, it will also... hold on! It will also... Oh, did you nod it? You nodded!
This was super impressive,
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Wellington.
Kia ora, ko Taupiri te maunga, ko Waikato te awa, ko Taurani te waka, ko Taurani te iwi, ko Ngāti Mahanga Te Hapu, ko Te Papaoro Te Marae, ko Stella Toka Ingoa. My name's Stella, by the way, and the question that we were given is, what is one thing we should not forget as we go through the transitional period? As we talked about our diverse thoughts, we came to the answer that we should not forget that everything is interconnected. Like Troy Brockbank said yesterday in his kōrero, was kua hau te wai, ko te wai kua hau. I'm water and water is me. Metaphorically, like the rope that connects us to our history, those before us, and even water, it is the knots that make us understand the importance of our actions, as it accounts or connects to our environment and our future. Because it is with these knots, these past problems, that we have innovated. Our history makes us accountable, and as our past connects to our present, and our present to our future.
Yes, so pretty much the one thing we cannot forget. Yeah, so the one thing we can't forget about water and the transition period is obviously how we got here, and because our ancestors, how they first got to this land, you know, they used this rope for their canoes, for their wakas. By using the currents, the waves, you know, ultimately the water. And I think as a collective, we can work together to hopefully gain a successful outcome in protecting our water. There's a Māori saying that goes, ki te kotahi te kākoho e kore e whati, ki te kapuia e kore e whati. So what that basically means is that, you know, if one of us tries doing everything ourselves, then it wouldn't be as effective. But if we all work together and as a collective, we can make a strong outcome.
And our rope analogy was that we had effectively the rope going back to our forefathers, our grandparents, our fathers, and then our generation. So each generation had its hand on the rope, and at this stage of development, we have both hands on the rope, and it's our responsibility to make sure that progress is one that's prosperous as well as sustainable for this generation and the ones to come. Thank you.
And last but not least, this team was Marlborough.
Morning, everyone. So we thought we might just start by very quickly introducing ourselves. So my name is Stephen Down with Jacobs in the Christchurch office.
Kia ora, I'm Emily from Rationale in Arrowtown.
And I'm Ryan from Our Environmental Wellington.
So the question that we were tasked with was, how can young people demonstrate leadership in their day-to-day work and in the water industry as a whole? And unfortunately, we didn't have any clever rope tying skills or any good analogies, so we reached back into the mists of time to primary school creative writing to come up with this acrostic. I'm sure many of you have kids trying to come up with acrostics like this as well, so hopefully yours is a little bit more sophisticated, but no promises. So for us, it comes back to these four key elements. R is for relationships, O is for opportunity, P is for purpose, and E is for empowerment. So to my mind, relationships are at the core of everything that we do as engineers. We have all spent the last couple of days here building fantastic relationships with each other, and I think young people in particular have a fantastic ability to build lasting relationships with our peers, with some of our senior leaders in the business, but most importantly with the community. We've heard a lot of people speaking here, Troy and others, about the importance of bringing our communities together to develop good solutions and lasting outcomes. So that's something that I think is a big takeaway from this experience for me, and hopefully for a lot of other people, that we really need to build on the relationships that we've developed for the good of everybody in New Zealand.
So O for opportunity is around the opportunity that we have to pass on our knowledge from some of the more experienced members in the room to some of the younger people, but also bring through some of the new ideas that the younger people have and work together. It is an opportunity for diversity, and it's an opportunity to try something new and to change the way we do things, so the result that we can get in the future is different.
So our question, I think, has somewhat changed from yesterday, but the angle we went for yesterday for the purpose was that the role of a young water professional, or just a young person in general in New Zealand, I think for any sort of water, whatever your three waters, whatever it is to, once you've figured out the relationships and how they're all interwoven and things, there's got to be some sort of common value, some sort of common goal, and it's always going to take give and take. So once you've got the inclusivity, the relationship sorted, I think the goal moving forward and the purpose of the young water professional would be to live up to what the world thinks New Zealand is. We've got the 100% pure New Zealand, the slogan, but are we really what they think we are? So I think, yeah, the purpose going forward for us would be to try and strive to be what everyone thinks we are.
And finally, E for empowerment. This is about empowering our whole community. So those sitting here in this room have the ability to impact the way that we work with water and the way that we work with infrastructure. But really, the change starts at the grassroots levels, and that's empowering our communities to make good choices in their homes, get out into the community and clean up some of our rivers and waterways. It's about doing the little things every day that consistently compounds over time to deliver a great result. Awesome.
And that fantastic group of people there that really made the 2 hours for me yesterday really enjoyable, and I could not separate each one of them. They were just great, and so we decided they all deserved to be up on the stage today. And look, I thank you for coming in to share that. If I can suggest one thing, if you've got someone young in your organisation or don't have someone young in your organisation, get them in, because they will breathe life into your office. And I think that's what we're looking for, is for our future, that group of people. So just put your hands together again for that group. Thanks.